I'm going to be turning the NHL into the NFL, and what do I mean by that? Well, first off, the NHL regular season, instead of being 82 games, now is only going to be 20, so every game matters so much more. Now, I know the NFL does 17-game seasons, but you literally cannot go any lower in franchise mode, or if you can, I just don't know how to do it. So there we go. We have 20-game seasons spread across like 8 or 9 months, so teams are going to be playing like every week or 2 weeks. I've also changed the playoff format to conferences instead of divisions, so no longer is the wild card spot going to be available. It's going to be 8 teams in each conference, the Western and Eastern. Now for the playoffs, I did try to make it single game elimination just like the NFL, but I don't think you can do that in franchise mode. If you can, I literally have no idea how. Maybe somebody in the comments could let me know. So that is what we're going to be doing in today's video. We're basically going to be turning the NHL into the NFL and seeing how fun that makes the league. I mean, games are going to be so much more important now. You are going to have to get those wins very early. Also, we are going to be doing this for 5 straight years and see who goes on and wins the Stanley Cup year after year. So without further ado, let's head right into the video. So at the end of year number 1, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be the best team in all of hockey as they go 14-3-3, good enough for 31 points on the season, followed by the New York Rangers, who also won 14 games. Winnipeg was up there with 14 wins. Seattle, Edmonton is top 5. Devils, Colorado, Boston now at the bottom of the NHL. We have the Vegas Golden Knights, the defending Stanley Cup champions, would only end up winning 5 games on the season, losing 14 in regulation. That is tough. Followed by the Calgary Flames, Montreal Canadiens were up there. Columbus was down there as well. St. Louis was bad. Arizona, Carolina had a very bad season. Draisaitl is going to have the most points in the entire NHL with 33, followed by McDavid's 32. Zach Hyman was up there as well with 32, past the 31. Marchand was up there. Zibanejad had a good season. Marner, Rasmus Dahlin had 29, and Blake Wheeler 28. Now for goals in the NHL, Pasta is going to lead with 17, followed by Marchand and McDavid, also Timo Meier and Kyle Connor. They would all have 15 apiece. Cole Caulfield was up there. Taylor Radish had 12 and Jarrett McCann 12. Now for the defenseman, Rasmus Dahlin is going to lead in scoring with 29 points, followed by Adam Fox's 27. Josh Morrissey was up there. Roman Josi, Brendan Montour. Quinn Hughes didn't really have the greatest season. I mean, 3 goals and 23 points in 20 games compared to what he's actually doing in real life. And where the hell is Mr. Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the entire NHL? Look at that, 19 points and only 1 goal in 20 games. Igor Shesterkin, Vanacek, and Samsonov are all going to tie for the most wins in the NHL at 12. Followed by Stuart Skinner, he was up there. Jake Ottinger, Georgiev, and Connor Hellebuck. Now for shutouts in the NHL, Jake Ottinger is going to lead with 2. It was going to be like a 5-way tie at 2 between Ottinger, Varlamov, Bennington, Vasi, Samsonov. All had 2 apiece, so not a lot of shutouts going on in the NHL. I mean, we only played 20 games, but... And here we go with our year 1 playoff matchups. Let's go ahead and see who makes the Stanley Cup Finals. Also, as I mentioned before, the seeding is 1-8, not divisional playoff formats. That honestly sucked. And in the Stanley Cup Final, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota in real life is honestly cooked. They have not been good whatsoever. Let's see who is going to go on and win the Stanley Cup in year number 1. And the Minnesota Wild are going to pull off the upset in year number 1 as they absolutely dominate Toronto in the Stanley Cup Finals in 5 games. It was really not even remotely close. They were by far the better team, which is honestly kind of surprising because on paper, Minnesota does not have the greatest team. I wouldn't even say they're better than Toronto and in real life. And Patrick Kane is going to go on and win the Conn Smythe, 18 goals and 37 points as like a 36-year-old. He signed with Minnesota during the season. Are you kidding me? Let me know in the comments if you can actually see this happening. For me, not really. And there it is, the Stanley Cup. It has to be raised in Air Canada Centre in Toronto. But unfortunately not for the Maple Leafs, as Jarrett Spurgeon, I believe, is coming to collect the cup. He is the captain of the Minnesota Wild. He wins it for the very first time in his NHL career. And I believe Minnesota wins their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history as they go on in year number 1 as champions. For the entire playoffs, Patrick Kane is going to go insane. 18 goals and 37 points. Well-deserved Conn Smythe. Kirill Kaprizov was up there as well with 34. Marner had a very good playoff run. Matthews had 20 goals and 32 points. Redman was up there. Connor McDavid was up there as well. 14 goals, 26 points. Nylander, who's going to get a bag next season at 26. Zibanejad is going to win the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross to Leon Draisaitl and Maurice Richard to David Pasternak. The Norris is going to go to Josh Morrissey somehow, not Rasmus Dahlin. The Lady Bing to Dry, and the Conn Smythe, of course, to Patrick Kane. The Vezina is going to go to Ilya Samsonov, and the Selke will go to Ryan O'Reilly of the Nashville Predators. Speaking of Predators, how about Josh Giddey? Or should I say Josh Kitty? So the Carolina Hurricanes are going to finish as the best team in the NHL as they go 16-4-0, good enough for 32 points on the season. Tampa Bay was also up there with 15 wins. Buffalo had a very good season, only 4 losses. Toronto as well. Minnesota, Vancouver, the Islanders, and Colorado were all top 8. Now at the bottom, who do we have here? The New Jersey Devils only winning 5 games on the season. The Rangers were also bad. Calgary's down there, no surprise there. Ottawa, Dallas, who actually have a very good team. They were 7-10. Montreal and Pittsburgh were also down there as well. Now somehow Philip Forsberg is actually going to end up leading the entire NHL in scoring with 32 points. Followed by William Nylander's 31. Your mom's a hoe had 30. Marner was up there. Braden Point and Marty Natchez all had 30 as well. Stammer had a very good season. Nikita Kucherov was good, 14 goals, 28 points. Connor Bedard, 16 goals and 27 points. Now, speaking of goals, Forsberg, Matthews, and Bedard are all going to tie at 16 apiece, so a 3-way tie for the Maurice Richard. I don't know if that's ever happened in NHL history, but it definitely has not happened a lot. Alexander Ovechkin was up there with 15. Marchand had a good season. Kucherov. Mason McTavish had 14 goals. Nylander, 14, and your mom's a hoe, 13. For defensemen, Roman Josi and Quinn Hughes are going to tie at 22 points apiece. Thomas Chabot had a good season as well. Dahlin had 20. Morgan Riley had 20. Sergachev was up there. Now for goalies, who's going to have the most wins here? Freddie Anderson with 16 wins on the season. Samsonov at 12. Merzlikins 10 and Georgiev 10. So honestly, it was really not even that close for wins, at least for goaltenders. Now for shutouts, Freddie Anderson is going to tie for the lead at 3 with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He also had 3. Linus Ullmark 2. Merzlikins 2 and Aiden Hill 2. Now for the playoff matchups in year number 2, here we are. Let's go on and see who makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have a matchup between the Colorado Avalanche and the Carolina Hurricanes. 2 very good teams in the show, but who is going to go home with the Stanley Cup at the end of year number 2? And the Carolina Hurricanes are going to get it done over the Colorado Avalanche as they beat them in the Stanley Cup Finals on home ice. Finally, Carolina gets past that godforsaken conference finals. Not only that, but they also get it done in the Stanley Cup Finals, so I guess no more choking, to win their very first Stanley Cup since 2006 when they beat my Edmonton Oilers. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised on home ice for the Hurricanes. Here comes their captain, Jordan Staal, coming to collect the Stanley Cup for, I believe, the second time in his NHL career, as the Carolina Hurricanes are going to go all the way and get it done in year number 2. For the playoffs, your mom's a hoe. Sebastian Aho is going to lead in scoring with 34 points, followed by Svechnikov's 32. Marty Natchez was up there with 30. McKinnon had a very good playoff run. Jarrett McCann was good as well. Passed at 27. Borkstrand 27 for goals in the playoffs. Svechnikov is going to lead with 18, followed by Passes 13. Your mom's a hoe is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross and Maurice Richard are going to go to Philip Forsberg. Norris is going to go to Rasmus Dahlin, the Lady Bing to Marner, and the Conn Smythe also to your mom's a hoe. The Vezina to Freddie Anderson, and the Selke is going to go to Anze Kopitar. So surprisingly, the Ottawa Senators are going to finish as the best team in the NHL at the end of year number 3 as they go 14-5-1, good enough for 29 points. It seems like the best team is getting worse and worse every season. Followed by the Vancouver Canucks, who also have 14 wins. Carolina was up there, defending champs. Washington as well. Arizona actually had a very good season. The Rangers, Buffalo, and Dallas. Now at the bottom, we have the Montreal Canadiens only winning 6 games. Nashville was bad. Winnipeg, Anaheim, Chicago. Yet again, Leon Draisaitl is going to lead the NHL in scoring, this time with 32 points, followed by Breadman's 30. Jack Hughes at 29. Connor McDavid, 28. Jason Robertson was up there. Matthews, your mom's a hoe. Cale Makar, and Stammer. Now for the goal side, Matthews is going to lead with 18, followed by Kucherov's 14. Pavelski had 14. Draisaitl 14. Svechnikov was up there. McDavid, McKinnon, Nazem Kadri had 12 goals. Jason Zucker 11. This dude is an 82 overall third line scoring forward. Now for defensemen, Cale Makar is going to lead in scoring with 27 points, followed by Brett Burns is 25. Morgan Riley was up there. Jared Slavin, or Jacob Slavin, I don't know why I said Jared. Korpisalo is going to lead in wins with 13, followed by Freddie Anderson's 12. Darcy Kemper had 12 and Binnington 11. What are your guys' thoughts on Jordan Binnington joining the Edmonton Oilers via trade. Now for shutouts, Carter Hart is going to lead. Actually, Carter Hart and Aiden Hill are going to tie at 2 apiece. And here we go with our Year 3 playoff matchups. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, surprisingly, we have the Seattle Kraken versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's see who is going to go on and take home the Stanley Cup at the end of year number 3, Seattle or Tampa Bay. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to go on and win another Stanley Cup, concluding their dynasty to what, 3 Stanley Cups now in 4 Stanley Cup Finals matchups, or actually 5 Stanley Cup Finals if you include 2015, as the trio of Hedman, Kucherov, and Stamkos gets another ring, and they get another here in Seattle, as the Kraken fans are actually going to witness the ceremony for the very first time ever. So I guess that is a plus. Here is Stammer yet again coming to collect the Stanley Cup as the Tampa Bay Lightning go on in year number 3 as Stanley Cup champions. Nikita Kucherov is going to do his thing for the playoffs. 23 goals and 33 points. That is insane. Followed by Stammer's 32. Braden Point had a very good playoff run, 31 points. McKinnon was up there with 22. But I mean, Nikita Kucherov scoring 23 goals in only 21 games is absolutely mind-boggling. Leon Draisaitl is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while Austin Matthews is going to win the Maurice Richard. The Norris is going to go to Morgan Riley, the Lady Bing, the Breadman. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Nikita Kucherov. The Vezina to Demko, and the Selke will go to Sidney Crosby. So at the end of year number 4, the Florida Panthers are going to finish as the best team as they go 15-4-1, good enough for 31 points on the season. Followed by the Carolina Hurricanes, the Vegas Golden Knights, Colorado was up there, the Rangers, Tampa Bay, who are the defending champs. Now at the bottom, we have the Montreal Canadiens yet again. Chicago was down there, Minnesota, Philly, Detroit, and Ottawa. I mean, Montreal only won 4 games on the season. Pavel Buchnevich is going to lead the entire NHL in scoring with 30 points on the season, followed by Sam Reinhart's 28. Mom Zaho was up there at 26. Tage Thompson, Kucherov, Ovechkin had a good season. Barkov at 24, Stammer, and Hagel as well. Now for goals, Alexander Ovechkin is going to lead the way with 14, followed by Pastas 13. Loston Krause had 13 on the Arizona Coyotes. Jack Hughes 13. Kucherov was up there. Kachuk, Marner, Barkov, and Matthew Barzal. And what happened to Matthew Barzal? In his rookie season, he had his career high of 85 points. Also 22 goals. He's literally never scored more goals than in his rookie year. I blame Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello for playing that stupid 2003 New Jersey Devils trap. I don't know what my dog is doing on the bed right now, but he's making a lot of noise. Freddie Anderson is going to lead in wins with 13, followed by Samsonov's 12. Bobrovsky was up there. Mers Lincoln, Stuart Skinner. And now for shutouts, Bobrovsky is going to tie. It's going to be like a 10-way tie. Holy hell. Between Bob, Georgiev, Allmark, Skinner, Bennington, Hill, and Darcy Kemper all had 2 apiece. And yet again, here is our year 4 playoff matchups. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Final, we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay already up 2-0 in the series, so my bad on that, but let's see who is going to go home with the Stanley Cup in year number 4. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to go back-to-back as yet again they win another Stanley Cup, the 4th of the Hedman, Stammer, and Kucherov era in only 6 Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, that's crazy, even making 6 Stanley Cup Finals since 2015, but Tampa Bay is one of the greatest dynasties in NHL history. No debate about it. And there it is, a Stanley Cup to be raised yet again in Tampa Bay. They did it back in 2021 against the Montreal Canadiens, and now yet again here in, I believe, year number 4, there is their captain, Steven Stamkos, one of the most underrated players I've ever seen. I mean, he's had a very good overall career, and now Tampa Bay has yet again won the Stanley Cup. Braden Point is going to lead the entire playoffs in scoring with 24 points. Only 6 goals, but 18 helpers. Followed by Kucherov's 23. Ovechkin had 22. Buchnevich 22. Kuznetsov was up there. Stammer as well. For the goal side in the playoffs, I believe Ovi's going to lead with 13. Followed by Kucherov's 11 and Stammer's 10. I mean, if you guys don't remember, Steven Stamkos was in fact that guy in the early 2010s. He was competing with guys like Sidney Crosby. He had back-to-back Maurice Richard wins and a 60-goal season on on top of that. Literally in his 4th season in the NHL, he scores 60 goals. Sam Reinhart is going to go home with the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross to Buchnevich and the Maurice Richard to Ovechkin. The Norris is going to go to Aaron Ekblad, Lady Bing to Buchnevich, and the Conn Smythe, of course, to Nikita Kucherov. The Vezina to Merzlikins, and the Selke will go to, yet again, Ryan O'Reilly. So at the end of the final season, Colorado is going to finish as the best team in the NHL as they go 14-5-1, good enough for 29 points. Also tied with the Florida Panthers. Vancouver was up there, Seattle, Winnipeg, Washington, and Tampa Bay. At the bottom, we have Columbus, Arizona, Detroit, the Islanders, San Jose, Anaheim, Chicago, and Carolina. Mikko Rantanen is going to lead all skaters in scoring with 33 points, followed by McKinnon's 31. Zibanejad was up there. Cale Makar had 31 as well. A very good season by him. Cole Caulfield had 29. Matthew Barzal, pretty good season as well. Barkov and Connor Bedard with 27. Now for goals, the greatest player of all time and Nathan McKinnon is going to have 14, followed by Kucherov's 13. Marchand, Stammer, and Bedard also had 13. Boldy was up there. Landeskog 12, Zibanejad 12, and Caulfield 12 as well. For defenseman, Cale Makar is going to lead in scoring with 31, followed by Quinn Hughes is 27. Carlson had 26. Adam Fox 20. Darcy Kemper is going to have the most wins at 12 in the NHL, followed by Connor Hellebuyck's 11. Demko had 11, Aiden Hill 10, and Shesterkin 10. And for shutouts, Linus Allmark, Vejmelka, Ottinger, Gibson, and Tristan Jarry are all going to tie for the league lead with 2 shutouts on the season. And here we go. This is our 5th and final playoff bracket for the video. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have a rematch of 2022 between the Colorado Avalanche and Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay trying to go on a three-peat during the video. That's insane. Colorado trying to get their first, of course. Let's see who is going home with the Stanley Cup in the 5th and final season. And the Colorado Avalanche are going to spoil the Tampa Bay Lightning's three-peat as they are going to get it done in the Stanley Cup Finals, winning their very first of the video and their second since 2022, of course. I mean, Tampa Bay, what a legendary run they have been on, but eventually it's everybody's time. Father Time is undefeated, and Tampa Bay, honestly, is a pretty old team. So I'm not too surprised to see that Colorado defeated them, but instead we got Colorado securing yet again another Stanley Cup. Here is not Gabriel Landeskog, but instead Cale Makar coming to lift the Stanley Cup. I don't know if Landy is injured in this universe as well, but what I do know is Colorado is yet again Stanley Cup champions. Nathan McKinnon is going to lead the NHL in scoring for the playoffs with 32 points, followed by Kucherov's 29. Braden Point had 27. Landy had 26. It says he played the same amount of games as McKinnon. I don't know why he was not lifting the cup. Stammer was up there 25. Rantanen, Cale Makar, Hedman, Jarrett McCann. McKinnon is going to win the Ted Lindsay and Maurice Richard. The Art Ross and Hart Trophy are going to Mikko Rantanen. The Norris to Cale Makar. Lady Bing to Rantanen. Conn Smythe to McKinnon. Vezina is going to go to Vasi, and the Selke will go to, yet again, Ryan O'Reilly. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. We turned the NHL basically into the NFL, kind of. We just changed a couple rules around with the amount of games they played during the regular season. Of course, the playoff seeding is conference 1-8 and not divisional play. And this is pretty realistic. I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning are an older team who really rely on just getting by the regular season and sneaking into the playoffs, so then they can create some noise. But in a 20-game season, they don't have to rest, really. They can go all out full tilt the entire time and still have enough gas in the tank to win the Stanley Cup at the end of the season. Let me know in the comments what I should do next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.